A round of applause for her. So Ketsia came from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. You can stand before the podium and tell us about your vision of the challenges for journalism and the media. Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is Ketsia Passou. I'm 18, 18 and a half, 19 at the end of this month. Founder of the Fania Association in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I am a UNICEF climate ambassador. Half of the population is younger than I am in my country. We form the over 64% of the Congolese population under 24. I spent my entire life almost with the feeling of being unable to deal with the problems around me as a child. As I looked around me, I never found any answers to my questions, such as why I could go to school, whereas others would shine shoes, and others would live in the streets. At school, for example, I couldn't directly find my role in terms of what I wanted from the Congo of tomorrow. With my dad at the time, I watched the national Congolese TV and radio and looked for answers to my questions. And I wanted to learn things to impress my friends at school. Unfortunately, I never got what I wanted from television or from radio. I was never satisfied with what I watched on TV or what my grandparents watched on TV. I was convinced that what I was following on the local channels may have changed things, but the media never wanted to show that, or maybe they didn't understand the young people. Today, my editorial will be focused on the importance of the media in communities with respect to news regarding social events, the climate, and others. Around me in my institute, my district, my family, like elsewhere, we spend more and more time on our smartphone, which is used the most to get information as it's very convenient and efficient. But in a country as big as mine, it depends on the zone, your access to internet, increasing inequalities in terms of access to information. The young people in the population doesn't have the same opportunities to get information, to learn, and to get committed, above all. The need for information is essential for young people today, those of a generation in a transition facing new challenges in different areas such as climate change, the internet, and others. This need for information is a real danger for us by trying to learn about the world around us with all the freedom offered by the internet, but rumors and fake news are gaining more and more ground, destroying the distrust we have in the world around us. Fake news and rumors, what we often hear about rebels who would invade the city and destroy everything, giving you a sense of perpetual insecurity. Disinformation with respect to climate change does not enable young people to take action. Media has a role to play in the everyday life of communities, and I've seen that myself. By educating people, giving them the information they need, enabling them to get prepared, and to be able to rise to many challenges. We're facing many challenges and disasters linked to climate change. DRC, it ranks ninth in terms of its exposure and vulnerability of children to climate change. Problems with water and soil pollution. A simple video by Vanessa Nakatier, for example, or Amnesty International's reports and articles, or maybe videos by Greta Thunberg, gathering crowds on the climate change, all of that has changed my vision of the world. A vision of the young people I never saw in my country that allowed me to find my role and the answers to my questions, and above all, to opening up the world. More than the media, through social media, that helped me in my work as an activist seeing things differently by the social media and realizing that it was possible to change the world in light of my age. Fast internet, fast changes in technology, that's one thing. But the real question is the future of tomorrow. When you're facing major challenges, how do we perceive information and how can we fashion the media of today and tomorrow? We're the actors of change, and we have decided to act and to push others to act. But for that, the young people need proper and necessary information on current challenges to prepare the populations and to nourish the battles of current and future populations. This is key. The role of the media is key today. In DRC, as around the world, people prefer to get news from the internet. Everyone knows we must change our lifestyle and adapt to climate change with editorial content, preparing young people to cope with floods, learning them the right gestures to mitigate the effects of climate change, but more importantly, for young people to adapt to climate change in DRC and Africa, that means understanding these changes, its causes, and the need to change our lifestyle. I started going to university in my first year. I will be working on construction and civil engineering and then to specialize in hydraulics. But in public works, that doesn't exist. They don't talk about climate change. They don't realize that the world faring very badly. What should we do then? We decided to work on these matters together based on my example, the path I followed, sensitizing the media and then acting. At the age of 12, I started to act. When I learned my rights during training with UNICEF, I started as a child reporter with the UNICEF, analyzing problems in my community and writing articles and advocating issues before the communities. At 17, I learned that this form of commitment was possible with journalists. And on the social media, I realized how young people are committed using social media as a means of information, communication, and advocacy. Imagine that several other young people benefited from that learning, that training. That's major. For us today, looking for information that's made for us in view of our challenges, helping us to imagine solutions to our problems, we have high expectations of the media. Why aren't people fully committed? In countries like DRC, why do we continue to have a lack of information? We're all convinced that young generations must make a commitment to change the course of history through our strength, our creativity, and even our numbers. But to be committed, we must know and understand the challenges around you and that they are a danger for us and why. Above all, you must look at the battles waged by others and the small victories to nourish your battle and your ambition to change the world. And for that, you need to learn. And it's not in schools in DRC that we will learn the power we have as young people. The only way today to learn is through the media. They alone can attract public attention to change their perception of everyday facts through proper information while providing good information. We believe that in Congo, young people are attached to the media. Do you think that the media is a true player, or is media content with just being an observer? I questioned 50 students, and out of the 50 students, only 7 said that they watched the news. Not local news, though. It's France 24 or RFI. I asked them about local news, and most said it's the same thing anyway. It doesn't change anything. Some said that there's only one private TV channel broadcasting issues on urban violence, and people identify with that because these are problems they find every day in their neighborhood. Out of half of students said they follow the media online, namely Tepedi News in Kinshasa. They capture the attention of the young people by being close to their concerns in terms of content and tone. Those who don't have, even for people who don't have access to smartphones, electricity, or the internet. So, in a country as vast as DRC in 2023, there are still people who have never heard about recycling, climate change, or seen a smartphone or electricity. Access to the right information for you that shed light and help you to make a choice. That is what we're looking for. As a young person, I expect a lot of the media. Speaking about strange facts, that's good, but giving meaning to information is better. Media has a major role to play today for the future. They can foster citizen commitments through the editorial content. Let's imagine a world where the media reinvents its role and becomes a mediator for active citizenship. In my country, as compared to others, few young people have a real understanding of what they mean for the future due to the size of the country. And to capture young people's population, you must reach out to them. But in Senegal and in Burundi and other countries at COP27, different forums have shown me that we can use different centers of interest on the African continent to build a common narrative, common goals, common expectations, slightly adapted to local realities so that through the media we can reach out to decision makers and work in favor of action for the climate. The role of media is there to do. It shouldn't depend on relations between those who are governed and those who govern. We must strive for action solutions, a solutions driven journalism in a way. Media can reveal citizens' commitments that lie deep in our hearts sometimes. That's what we want. Media that is closer to us, with content adapted to platforms where we spend more time, that stimulate us, correspond to us, give us creativity, and help us to become what we are, giving us superpowers, things we'll never learn in schoolrooms, especially in RDC. Programs training local populations for them not to be cut off from the world. Programs taking into account the specificities of those regions. DRC has over 2 million square meters, and we all must have the right access to the best information. Why not use a quiz on the climate or a series with to enlighten our role as citizens and in our local languages? Why not cartoons sensitizing young children on the climate? This would give a new meaning to the future generations, making the media a partner for communities and young generations, especially in developing countries where young people would have the same opportunities for commitment as elsewhere, so as to be inclusive, reinventing the way we act, adapting to our lifestyles, sharing the same goals as us. In Kinshasa, every year we produce over 1,500 tons of plastic waste with 16 million inhabitants, 12,000 tons of plastic, a phenomenon that is worsening, and rivers are becoming a land waste, and the streets of the capital are flooded and no one talks about it. But once there is a public march, all eyes are on it. It becomes a current event. Most of the time, media doesn't look at real facts, real issues impacting communities to enlighten the community. No media tries to pass on the right gestures or to educate the population. Just imagine that the media manage if what could be done if the media were to talk about the long-term impacts of plastic. Just imagine how things could improve in terms of plastic management in DRC. But for that, all the key players in the media, journalists in particular, must set their shoulder to the task, deciding on priorities, principles for action and training journalists on what we need for the world of tomorrow, with a focus on the real needs for information for communities, as well as making each young person in Africa and around the world as those who can pass on their voices, endowing them with the right skills. And the media of tomorrow must be shaped and thought of together with those who need it the most, i.e., communities. We must make the most of opportunities such as this to find out how all players in the media and the communities can reinvent a story through the power bestowed on the media. And that is the world of information that I would like to see tomorrow. Thank you.